Hi, Michael.
Hi,
Thanks.
Angela.
Did you enjoy your very long break?
Well, it was nice. It was nice to get a couple of days away from the training ground. I think the players as well enjoyed the break. So yeah, we had Monday, Tuesday off, and then that gave us a 3-day lead until to the game tomorrow, rather. So yeah, the weather's been a little bit challenging here as well, but it's been nice not to have a midweek game, certainly.
When you look at the game in the cup against Leicester, there's two ways of looking at it, really, isn't there? Do you go full strength and hope to win, or do you look at it as an opportunity to get minutes in some players' legs and do a combination of both? What are your plans?
I think a combination of both. The thing for us is the players that probably need minutes for us are not, they're very experienced players. You know, the likes of John Obi, the likes of Sam Clucas, the likes of Joe Allen, Ryan Shawcross, Danny Batt, for example. These are all players that have been out of the team in recent times or are coming back from injury. So I don't think that even if we shuffle the pack a little bit, we'll necessarily be any weaker. You know, if anything, we'll probably be a little bit more experienced if we decide to go that way. But ultimately, you have to be competitive in the game, and that's what we aspire to be. It would be a great cup tie to have this if the ground was full, and we're obviously a team that's coming at the right at the top end of the Premier League and have been there all season, and you can have the benefit of trying to cause a real upset. But you know, we'll try that regardless. And the most important thing for us is that we get, you know, a good level of performance, and as I say, hopefully a positive result.
The Carabao Cup was a good way for you to get youngsters minutes, the likes of Souters and Collins, because now they've become established players. Do you think that there's a chance of, say, somebody like Verlinden coming in tomorrow and gaining the experience that he needs to push forward to continue in the team?
I think we have to look at, you know, the rationale behind why we brought Nathan and Harry into the team. They were obviously at a point. Harry had come back from loan, and we had to assess, I think, between the start of the season and the January window whether Harry was, you know, ready to play in the first team on a consistent basis. I think he's demonstrated that. And Nathan was a player that, you know, had been around the team for a number of, you know, a season or two. It's still very young to play on a consistent basis at 19 years of age in the Championship as a centre half. He's played a little bit at right back or right side at centre back as well. So yeah, they've taken the opportunity, and Thibaut's slightly different because he's coming back off an injury more than anything else. You know, he had a long period out, and we brought Thibaut back last January with that intention that he would have an impact. Unfortunately, that was taken away from him because of the injury, and you know, like anything, the squad moves forward, but he's around the squad, he's training, he's been on the bench a number of times. He's probably hindered a little bit more, like all the wide players are at the minute, because of the system. We've been forced a little bit to play with three at the back, and you know, I don't think Thibaut's a wide player that could play as a wing back, for example. But we'll see tomorrow. You know, we've one or two things to decide on today, and if he gets the opportunities, down to him.
And while we're on about injuries, do you have any injury update for us?
Yeah, we've got none of Stephen Fletcher won't be available. Obviously, the longer term, Lee Gregory, both goalkeepers are still not back yet. We have a doubt about Nick Powell, so we'll keep that, and we have a doubt about James Chester as well. So those are the ones that are giving us a little bit of concern at the moment.
While you're talking about injuries, you let Andy Lonergan go. Does that mean that the goalkeeping situation is getting slightly better?
Well, we didn't really have a choice to keep Andy, to be honest, because he signed a short-term deal. We weren't really in a position to offer him a deal to the end of the season because of the numbers that we have in terms of the goalkeeping area. And, you know, I think he had the option to go to the Premier League and a contract to the end of the season. He did very well for us when he was here. I thought he did very well in the game that we required him to play. And he was a very positive influence around, you know, the likes, particularly young Joe Bursick. So, you know, we thank him for that. But, you know, I think we felt with the goalkeepers coming back, Adam Davis and Angus Gunn, that, you know, with young Blondie Nanuku, that we could continue with just the two young goalkeepers to get us through to that point.
And talking about signings, you've got the new signing with Rabby Matondo. Is he liable to start tomorrow, or is he up to match fitness?
Well, we only got the sort of paperwork concluded yesterday. It was a little bit convoluted, took a little bit longer than we would have liked, but that's what happens in these deals, particularly coming from abroad. He's trained this morning, so yeah, Rabby will be in the squad. Whether he starts or not, we'll have to make a decision on that. But he's a very exciting young player. He's demonstrated that already this morning, and I'd say it's great to have him on board, because I think, you know, he's the type of player I think that we're going to need in the second half of the season.
You've always talked about pace being important in the Championship. He's certainly got pace, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Look, I think at the top end of the game now, pace it's essential, really, particularly in the attacking areas. And Rabby has electric pace. You know, you can see that clearly even from the first training session. That was clearly visible. And you know, he's a young player with massive potential. He took a very brave decision at a young age to go abroad, and has had good experience playing in the Bundesliga, a very big club. But he's got a target in his mind now. He's come back to the UK. He wants to be part of the Welsh squad for Euro 2021. And, you know, we'll give him that opportunity. But, you know, what pace, I think, is what frightens defenders. And he certainly has that in abundance.
And a quick word about Leicester. They're obviously flying high, doing remarkably well, have played well consistently for 2 or 3 years now. It's going to be a tough ask without Jamie Vardy or any of the other players. You could do with 9 or 10 of them having a knock today, couldn't you?
Yeah, look, they've got a fantastic squad, and you know, I think Brendan, when he went in there, he inherited, you know, a club in a good situation, and he's improved it, which isn't an easy thing to do. And you know, that's a combination of the manager and obviously good recruitment. And I think they've bought very well. They've bought players at a good age, and you know, Brendan's managed not only to get the most out of the young players, but he's got the most out of the likes of Jamie Vardy as well, the likes of Johnny Evans that I know in there well. So they're in a very good place. I think they're an excellent team, very attractive team to watch, play great football. So it'll be a big test for us tomorrow.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall we go with Dave and then George, because George joined late. So Dave and then George, please.
Hi there, Michael.
Hi, Dave.
Yeah, you let Danny Lonergan go back, as you sort of said. How close is Adam Davies to fitness?
Well, he's still a little bit away in terms of, you know, I would say he's doing a little bit now in the grass. I would say by the end of the month, it's a realistic target for both him and Angus to potentially come back into contention. So we had to make a decision, and you know, it wasn't so much that we let Andy go, it was Andy's decision, and ultimately to make that, you know, we had only signed him on a month's contract, and we already had, you know, Nicky under contract, who got injured when he came training, and we just feel that the two young goalkeepers, we can get through to that point that Angus and Adam come back, that we feel we've got enough to get us through to that point. If that isn't the case, we're in a better situation than we were previously, because the transfer window's open, and January would give us the ability to look at a wider pool of goalkeepers should we feel that we needed to do that. But hopefully that won't be the case, and the two lads will be back. And, you know, as I say, we'll have good competition there with the two young goalkeepers that we have, obviously, at the moment as well.
There's a rumour that Peter Tabor, who's out on loan, might be returning in January. Have you heard of this? Is there any truth in this?
It's definitely a rumour. Yeah, no. The players who are out on loan are out on loan for the season, and that won't change. You know, that was what they wanted at that point in time. They made that decision. We made that decision as a club. And maybe because the loan hasn't gone well, you can't just decide that you want to come back. It doesn't work like that. And the players, as I say, so we don't envisage any of the loan players who are currently, you know, playing in various clubs returning to the club in January.
And when it comes to playing Leicester, would you? I mean, there's rumours again that James Vardy and the like might not actually be fit, or they might be rested. Would you prefer them to be rested? I would assume that you would.
Well, yeah, I think that goes without saying. Yeah, Jimmy Vardy for me he's phenomenal, really, in terms of given his career path and his ability to stay, as one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And so, yeah, that's a bonus for us that he's not playing. But like anything with all these Premier League teams, particularly in the top six, the players they bring in are of such a high caliber as well. And Iheanacho, I would imagine, will play if Jamie Vardy doesn't. But Brendan has choices. He can do other things with his team. He can flexible. And so, look, whatever team Leicester play, as I said, whatever system they play, they'll be well structured, well organised, and they'll have quality all over the pitch.
Absolutely. Good luck. Bye.
Thank you.
Michael, obviously, thanks for joining us. Obviously, the cup is a nice diversion, isn't it? Really, but you want to go as far as you can in this competition.
Yeah, I think so. Of course we do. Yeah, I think a cup run is good. It gives you, it helps create that positive atmosphere within the team as well, within the club. And whilst we've had a tough schedule of games, we don't want to just fulfill a fixture. We want to make sure that we give a real good account of ourselves, and by doing so, obviously, we want to try and progress to the next round. It's always nice to take the scalp of a Premier League team, particularly a team like Leicester, who are riding very high in the Premier League at this minute in time, and that's what we'll be aiming to do.
In the early rounds, some of the Premier League sides do, I suppose, alternate their squad. Is that an advantage for you because you've got problems as well in injuries, etc.? Or does it make any sort of advantage, do you see?
I don't think it's an advantage, because I think like anything, players who come into the team have something to prove, and they, if their game time is limited, they want to make sure that they take any opportunity that's given to them. And as I said, it's not like the Leicester will bring in inexperienced players, or and even if they bring in younger players, the younger players will be of a very, very high caliber. So I don't think that's an issue in the game at all. For us, and we've not been dwelling on that. We've been focused on ourselves. It's difficult to read what a team in Leicester's situation may or may not do. It was similar with Tottenham Hotspur, but as we saw with Tottenham, they came with basically their full team and all guns blazing, and we had to deal with that. So as I say, we prepare to meet a very good side regardless of the 11 that they pick.
They are the counter-attacking side. You'll have taken that into account as well. So you see that it's all about you pressurising the game, or it's as you see the game unfolding, because they are on the counter-attacking side, aren't they?
Well, I think they've got the ability to play in two ways. I think we've seen them play this season in the counter-attack, and they certainly have the attributes in their team to do so. I'm not sure they'll come and play with a counter-attacking approach against a team from the Championship, for example. I'm sure they will expect to have the ability to have a lot of possession of the ball. We have to make life difficult. We have to make that side of the game difficult for them, disrupt their rhythm, disrupt the speed of their play, and we have to play ourselves. We played against a very good team in Bournemouth, who obviously have just come out of the Premier League, and the game was of a high tempo, and I thought the game was of a high quality, and that's what we want to show tomorrow, that we can play at that tempo and play with that quality against good opposition.
You've already moved into the transfer market in January. Any more plans to add, or are you just going to wait because there's still some time to go? In more ways than one, you have been linked with several players. Any movement on that one in terms of the Charlton winger, of course, Alfie Doughty?
Yeah, we've been linked with a number of players, which is typical, really. I know that you have to come up with some names. Some of them have surprised me, to be honest. But I think that, look, we want to try and improve the squad. January is a difficult window to do that. We're not in a position where we can spend the money that we would have spent in previous years in the Championship. So we have to be very selective. And whether that's, a Rabby Matondo coming in on loan, a young player with massive potential, or, the likes of an Alfie Doughty, those types of players, we're looking to improve in certain areas of the pitch. We would like to add a little bit of youth to the squad, certainly a bit of pace to the squad if we can do that. But as I say, we still have a number of players in the building. We still have a relatively big squad. So as I say, the window it'll be a day-by-day process. But we would hope that, we'll do more than just Rabby in this window.
Finally, from me, Michael, obviously the pandemic is spreading within the football world. We've already seen two teams that are going to be playing their youth teams, i.e. Aston Villa and Derby County. And obviously training grounds closed, Sheffield Wednesday, Derby, Middlesbrough and Aston Villa. Do you consider that we might be moving towards a circuit break, and the Football League and the AFL and the FA have to make some sort of decision soon?
Yeah, I mean, certainly the news that's coming out is a little bit alarming. It's not positive, obviously, and I think the clubs have done very well to get to this point, but certainly it seems a little bit more prevalent with the new strain of the virus, and the numbers are obviously increasing. So hopefully that isn't the case, that we can continue to play. But again, that's a decision for the authorities. That's a decision for, we have to be mindful of, we have to protect the safety of the players and the safety of the public in general as well. So, but hopefully, as I say, we can continue to play. But certainly the recent information that's coming out is I think it's a cause for concern.
Thank you, Michael. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.